All right, thanks for coming on today, guys. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ken French, and I've been partnering with Marilyn and Integrity here and Cornerstone Senior Marketing for a few years. And long story short, I grew up in the insurance business back in the late '90s, and it was a family-owned business that we used to help independent insurance agents sell employee benefits, life insurance, Medicare, individual health. And when I joined the company, I was kind of a young kid. So they looked at me and said, "We're going to make you the technology guy." And next thing you know, I'd have some of our agents call up and say, "Hey, I think I might need help with my agency management system, or maybe I need one of these website things." So that became my role. And as the years went by, I started to hire some smarter programmers and people that knew more about the minute details than myself. And long story short, that's what I did for about 10 years. Well, to make a super duper long story short, healthcare reform became pretty serious, and it came along in the late 2000s. And at that point, my father, my uncle, who kind of were the owners of the company, they decided to sell the business and retire. And when they did that, I took my little department and we kind of formed our own LLC and created Snoozy. And basically, what Snoozy is a very specific company that works specifically with independent insurance agents, and we can help you with website design and social media marketing and social media strategy. And what I want to do today is really talk about your web presence and having a game plan for 2022. And, I think what I've seen is there's been a bit of an evolution over the 20 years I've been doing this, building websites. And, over the last 2 or 3 years, there's been, a pretty big change of how things have happened. Obviously COVID occurred, and when that happened, all of us had to find ways to become more virtual. Whatever that means, whether it meant, not going and physically meeting people and doing more phone calls and Zoom calls. But one thing that I noticed, especially in 2021, is I started to get a lot more phone calls from what I would call A and B producers. These are, independent insurance agents who have been doing this for 20 or 30 years. And in my opinion, they're very knowledgeable, they're very personable, they're good people. They know what they're talking about, they care about their clients. But I started to get more phone calls from them, and basically their number one kind of complaint is I'm just not getting as many referrals as I used to, and I'm scratching my head what's going on. And I would talk to them, and I could tell that they cared, and I could tell they knew what they were talking about, but I could also tell that they kind of had been doing the same thing for 20 years. So usually the first question I have for them is well, what's your web presence like? Do you have a business website? Do you have a social media presence? And most of them would either say not really, or I do, but I haven't put much effort into it. So what I tried to do to really explain to them what I was seeing is I would say, look, we're all entrepreneurs here. Let's talk reasonably. You're telling me you're not getting as many referrals. Well, does that mean your clients aren't saying you're good at what you do? Probably not. They probably still are doing that as much as they've always done. But what happens if someone's referred to you and they want to learn more about you immediately? And maybe they whip out their smartphone and they type in, Karen Smith Medicare. What's going to be their first impression of you virtually? What are they going to find? Are they going to find a website? Are they going to find a LinkedIn page? Are they going to find anything? And I think what I started to realize this year specifically is a lot of these, like again, I call them A and B producers. These are very successful people. They just didn't have a very good virtual first impression. And they were kind of giving people a reason to not call them. So I think that as I go through today's presentation, I want that to be kind of the foundation of everything I talk about. Because I'm going to talk a lot about functionality and things you should have in your website. But I think it all goes back to having a different mindset, because one of the mindsets I get from a lot of agents is, well, I have a website and I'm not getting any leads. And it's like, okay, well, that can easily be fixed maybe with doing different types of marketing. But let's not forget that the website needs to be kind of the base of your business. And, I think back to when I first started this company, and I was talking with our corporate accountant, CPA. This is someone who had been with, my father's company for a while. And this guy was, he was a master, had been doing it a very long time. I would call him a wise, accounting professional. And the thing he said to me, he said, look, he goes, I set up a lot of, I've set up thousands of businesses over the years. And the people that have been very successful have found a way to balance working in your business, but also balancing working on your business. And I think that that's kind of what I'm getting at is yes, these people that have been calling me are very successful, and they've been doing a very good job working in their business, right? Learning the products, talking to the consumer. But have they been working on their business? Have they been evolving with the demand of the consumer, of the client? And I think that that's where we're at. After COVID, that kind of made everybody, when I say everybody, different age ranges, right? Obviously, the younger generation has always been technologically savvy with smartphones. But now the older generations, the baby boomers, they had to really be pushed to use their smartphone more, to use their computer more. And now they've kind of gotten used to that. And I think that that's my point here is that, as we move forward into 2022, and you're saying to yourself, gosh, things aren't as great as they used to be, I think we have to say, okay, well, maybe it's time to work on our business a little bit more and work on having a better web presence. So if somebody is doing a background check on us, that their first impression of us is just as good as if they met us in person. So, usually when I explain this to people, they say, okay, well, where do I start? What do I have to do with a website to have that good first impression? And I tell them, well, I think you need to break it down into 3 sections, okay? The most important section is having some sort of brand. So if somebody comes to your website, they need to kind of know they need to know how you call, what you call your business. Is it Karen Smith Insurance? Is it the Smith Insurance Agency? You should have some sort of logo. You should have some sort of branding. Most importantly, you should have information about you and why somebody should work with you. If possible, some testimonials from people that you've helped, right? Again, put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. This stuff becomes important to them. Maybe they've had a bad experience with another insurance agent in the past and they're a little skeptical. So anything we can do to kind of say, look, this is who we are. This is why you'd want to work with us. This is what people are saying about us. It makes people feel more comfortable about calling you. Number 2 is you need to have a good overview about your portfolio, the products that you focus on, the secondary services you also offer. And then what I'm going to talk about, for the second half of the presentation is having the site a little bit more functional. Giving people a reason to be able to do things, whether it's going to your site and scheduling a meeting or using the Medicare Center where they can see pricing and go in and enter their drug information, or just watching basic videos. These things become, quite important. So here's an example of a Cornerstone broker I've been working with. And, this was someone who I started working with earlier this year. And again, same kind of scenario. I'm not the most technologically savvy, but certainly I understand that people are now kind of searching for me and they want to learn more about what I bring to the table. So if we look at this person's website, you can see that, if you go to the About Harrison section, we have a page that kind of reviews Harrison and what he does and what his mission is and why you'd want to work with him. We have testimonials from current clients where people can read what their experience has been working with him. If somebody wants to go and schedule a meeting with them, with Harrison, they can click on the schedule a call or meeting button and his Calendarly service opens up where someone can go in and actually see his schedule and actually book a meeting. Obviously there's a section where someone can go into the Medicare Center and see pricing or enter their drugs, or if they're just looking for a basic standalone dental plan, they can do that. I'm not going to meticulously review this site, but I think my point is that, there needs to be some sort of purpose, some sort of game plan here on, what your intentions are to help the consumer. And, I think that that's where a lot of agents are struggling. They have relied on their first impression, their ability to speak with people in person. And now, the consumer wants to learn a little bit more about you um, before they kind of make that next step of, hey, let's go set up a call. Now, I don't mean to ramble on, but one point I want to make, and this is a very important point, having this website that kind of reviews all this stuff, in no way does this change the way you run your business. In no way does this make you some sort of e-commerce center. It's the complete opposite. If you're still going out and meeting people at Starbucks or having coffee and talking, that continues. All of the things that you've done that have made you successful continue. This is just another piece to the puzzle that kind of gets them to where you want to get them, right? So, as I mentioned, I think when you build a website like this, you want to make sure you develop a site that you're comfortable with. And, I talked about having the Medicare Center in there, or maybe having the Clever RX portal that Cornerstone, allows you to have, having some sort of scheduling software. You can even have some sort of virtual scope form where, people can certainly go in there and fill out the scope so you can contact them. These are things that they're important. And again, I don't mean to ramble on, but one thing that I also get a lot of questions about is, I have a website and I struggle to get a lot of people consistently to come to the website. And I think the easiest answer is, okay, well, people aren't just randomly going to the site unless they're background checking you. Let's try to have things built on your site that give you a reason to send them there, right? I think that was more my point. And it's just another way to generate referrals. If you talk to somebody new and you got to get the scope form filled out, rather than email them the scope form, maybe have them go to the website and print it out. If someone's just, again, looking for some basic pricing on a standalone dental plan, rather than call them up and talk to them for a half hour, maybe step one is go to my website, click on Humana, check out the pricing, call me back if that fits what you need. Having reasons to send people to your site make your website much more powerful for you. And in the end, you start to get people on there looking around, and then those people tell their friends, well, look, I had an easy, good experience working with Karen Smith. I just went to her site, I did this, then I talked to her, then I met her, it was great. And I think that, I had in the slide, a few slides back here, evolving your style with the demand of the consumer, right? And, I think that that's where a lot of these producers that I've talked to over the last year, very good, smart, educated, excellent agents, but maybe over the last few years, they haven't evolved so great. They've kind of kept doing what they were doing. And now, now they're looking, of course, still making money. They're still doing well, but they're starting to scratch their head and say, you know what? Things have gotten a little tighter. I'm not used to get 25 referrals every 3 months. Now I'm getting 10. What's going on here? And I think that, this is kind of what's happening. The consumer is changing their buying habits. And as an entrepreneur, regardless if you sell insurance or you do something else, I think it makes sense to study the consumer and to try to adapt to do what the consumer wants to be done, if that makes sense. So just to kind of summarize on this website side, as we push forward into the new year, ask yourself, does my website give a good first impression, right? Does it have usability? Can I use it in my day-to-day grind of running my business? Can people go in there and access the Medicare Center? Can they schedule a meeting with me? Can they fill out a scope form? Can they, watch an educational video? If you just have a billboard, it's not as usable. And then I think finally, like I was saying before, everyone wants more leads. And at the end of the day, the key to generating leads is to do marketing, whether you're doing Facebook ads, whether you're doing mailers. I'm not sure if Cornerstone helps you with that, but they might, having a place to send people from the marketing becomes a big foundation to the marketing. And I think having the site that's designed like this puts you in a better position to get those results. So those are the key concepts to think about when we talk about our website. But things have evolved even more. And now social media has become a part of the same puzzle. And like I said, if we go back to that first slide where I was talking about, hey, look, someone's turning 65 in 2 months, and they're at the point now where they're getting a ton of stuff in their mailbox, right? They're getting phone calls from all sorts of stuff, and they're kind of like, I better talk to somebody now because I don't want to miss my window and get a penalty. So they go to the holiday party next week, and they're talking to their friend who's 66. Hey, when you turn 65, who helped you? Oh, I talked to Karen Smith. She's like the Medicare lady. She's the best. So again, next thing you know, this person's at the holiday party kind of Googling you, Karen Smith. Well, where is she? Oh, well, she's in Toledo. Karen Smith, Toledo. Boom. Next thing you know, this person's on your website at 10 o'clock at night at the holiday party, kind of taking a look at who you are. Make no mistake, they're going to go check out your Facebook business page. They're going to check out your LinkedIn page. And these are windows into your daily activity and kind of what you're up to. Yes, the website's important, but the social media is what truly kind of shows your expertise and that you're the expert. Like I said, the Medicare expert lady. So, I get this question a lot. Well, okay, I'm open to using social media, but I feel overwhelmed. I feel like it's very time consuming. What things should I focus on? So, kind of my 3 to 5 minute, synopsis is, number one, you have to understand that social media is in constant motion. Okay, it's not going to ever stop. And I remember back in 2006, and people were like, "This is a fad, and it's going to be over next year." Well, it's 15 years later; it's still going. So I think your bet that it's going to blow up is not a good one. I think the best way to move forward is to understand that the key to success is never-ending consistency. That means constantly trying to connect on LinkedIn and Facebook with your friends, with your clients, and most importantly, constantly posting. And I call that dripping on your distribution. So I think it starts with two simple things, because one thing I get a lot is, well, there's a lot of social medias out there. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's Alignable, there's, Nextdoor. What should I do? I'm overwhelmed. I think if your target market is baby boomers and you're, mostly Medicare, life insurance, I think for 2022, focus on Facebook, have a business page, and make sure your LinkedIn page is flawless. So again, I can't stress enough. Go into Google right now and Google yourself. I bet you if you set up a LinkedIn profile in the last 15 years, it's going to come up on the first page. So put yourself in the shoes of a consumer. If they end up on that LinkedIn page, what are they going to see? Are they impressed? Does your profile project who you are and how you can help them? So my suggestion would be, number one, you need a picture. No questions asked. You must have a picture. Number two, you need to have a little summary on there that says who you are and what you do. And in my opinion, that summary should match what's on your business website. I'm a big believer in a consistent message. And you would be surprised how many insurance agents call me up and go, "Oh yeah, I'm doing a great job with all this." And then I go Google them and I go to their LinkedIn profile and it says, "Hi, my name is Bob Thomas and I am a real estate agent." And I call up Bob and I go, "Bob, you told me you specialize in Medicare and life insurance. I went to the LinkedIn page, says nothing about insurance, just says you do real estate." "Oh, well, I do real estate as well." I get it. That's great. You can continue to do real estate as much as you want, but you need to make sure that you're open about that and that your LinkedIn page says, "Hey, look, we specialize in helping, Medicare eligibles, and, we also do life insurance. We do real estate." Have that on your website. Have that on your LinkedIn page. Be open and consistent with your message, because the consumer, they're just looking for something to not add up. I think I said it in the first slide. Do not give a consumer a reason to not call you. Don't make them skeptical, because the one thing I stress, and I can't stress it enough, I've been in this business 22 years. Yes, most of the insurance professionals out there are good, honest people, but there's a percentage of people out there that don't know what they're talking about, and they've done a bad job, and they've created bad experiences for some of the consumers out there. So some of these consumers who could be coming to you, they're coming off a bad experience. And if you're projecting that you're sloppy and disorganized and you have an inconsistent message, I don't know if I want to call you. You're giving them a reason to not call. So with LinkedIn, let's make sure we have a nice professional picture. Let's have a good summary that tells them what we do. Let's try our best to try to connect with our clients and friends. And most importantly, let's go on there and post at least 3 or 4 times a week good posts, good educational tips about Medicare and life insurance so that people see that you're the expert. Same thing with Facebook. You want to have a Facebook business page for your insurance business. You want to have your logo or your picture on there that matches your website. You want to be posting as much as you can every day because these are windows into your activity, into what you're up to. And again, I can't stress it enough. Imagine if you were a consumer who Googled you and I found your Facebook business page and you hadn't posted anything since July of 2019. What would you think? You'd think like, why isn't this person, why haven't they put any effort into their business? Why have they not posted anything in 2 years? Did they quit? Did they not, do they not know how to use Facebook because they have really horrible computer skills? You're just putting thoughts into the consumer's mind that maybe I don't want to work with this person. So again, I can't stress enough, these things, they don't have what I call instantaneous impact. But just like I said in the beginning of the webinar, I've been getting these producers calling me up saying, look, over the last 12 months, I can't figure it out, but I'm down 30% referrals. Well, over a year or two's process of not doing these little things, all of a sudden it starts to add up over time. So just to kind of conclude and to summarize, remember, most consumers have had bad experiences dealing with past insurance agents. Never assume that people want to work with an insurance agent. It's like, I always kind of say, it's like being a dentist. Yes, the client has to come to you. They have kind of no choice. So, do your best to project yourself as the best dentist out there that's going to be, educate them and care for them and be there for them. Everybody out there is telling the consumer that be careful of scams. There's scams all over the place. These TV Medicare commercials are scams. Facebook's a scam. Everything's a scam, right? So the consumer is scared, and it's important to project that you're professional, and your web presence can erase their doubt. And you can show them through activity on social media that you're the expert, and show them that you're going to be active and consistent and be there for them. And I think that that's really what, to kind of summarize, I think that's where we're at in 2022. Having a website, having a social media presence, yes, it would be great if you became a marketing master and could generate a ton of leads. But I think not having these things costs a tremendous amount more than to pay to have them, is what it comes down to. There's now a very big cost for not having these things. And, like I said, we're all entrepreneurs here. We all have to figure out how to be more profitable, how to grow our businesses. I kind of always say, like, think back to 1995. If you were in business then, I'm sure you had an office. And there was probably a cost associated not having an office, right? If you didn't have an office, what would happen? People would say, oh, why don't they have an office? Can they not afford one? Are they not really serious? Well, obviously things have flipped. And now no one has offices. But the website and the social media presence have kind of become that window into your office. It shows that you're moving forward and that you're invested and that you're legit. So these are just things to think about as you push forward. Real quick, just to kind of confirm what I do, for the last over 2 years, I've kind of partnered with Cornerstone, and they refer independent insurance agents to me who just need help with this stuff. I went through a lot of things, a lot of technology that you can build into your sites. On the flip side, I don't think there's too many insurance producers who have the time or knowledge to kind of do all that stuff themselves. And that's kind of what I bring to the table. If you get a chance, you should check out csm.snoozy.net. And there you can kind of review my services. You can review some special discount pricing you can get as a Cornerstone producer. But long story short, we build custom websites. We can do daily posting on your social media pages if you just don't have time to do that. I'm a big believer in doing interviews with you and learning about your style, learning about how you do things, and then trying to kind of put together something that you're very comfortable with. I can't stress that enough. Um, because you have a website, because you have a social media presence, it doesn't mean that you become this e-commerce center. It just, like I said, it just becomes kind of that virtual side of your business that I think is important to have. And for me, my goal is to understand kind of what you're about and create that like virtual version of it. Long story short, I would be more than happy to set up kind of like a 15-minute consultation with anyone. Talk through your situation, talk through what you're trying to do. If I can help you, I'll give you every idea I have. If I don't think I'm a fit, I'll certainly point you in the right direction. We certainly don't have any high setup costs or anything here. We try to keep it very affordable and simple. So I can't stress enough. Check out our website with Cornerstone, csm.snoozy.net, and all the basic information to get going is in there. So I appreciate everyone's time. I look forward to doing more of these throughout the year. And like I said, keep these things in mind, and good luck to you.